Good morning. This is Ron Mickens, live from Lakeland, Florida. You know the topic, fraud upon the court. You be the judge. I'm going to have to use some terminology today that I know a lot of folks don't like to hear. But we have to live in the real world. So I'm going to be talking to you today about institutionalized racism. This is a term that we have to learn about. Okay? So you're going to have to bear with me. You're going to have to stay with me. Now, institutionalized racism. You be the judge. We were treated like slaves, or like we were 3/5 humans. Okay? The truth is in the detail. So stay with me. Jerry Hill, the state attorney, it all started with the state attorney. He had this necessary and indispensable fraudulent misrepresentation that he needed in order to be able to collect the blood money. He sent me from the beginning. He and Don Pale, they wrote this affidavit, and they wanted me to sign it. I would not sign it. Matter of fact, I've made this annotation on it. This affidavit is based solely on what Mrs. Canady stated. This is a partial and unfair statement. I wrote my own affidavit and I sent it back to him. In other words, this is the state attorney trying to put words in our mouth. Okay? Stay with me. We refused to sign. I wrote my own affidavit. He rejected it because when he did his complaint affidavit form, he put this same affidavit that he wrote up on my wife and I's behalf and wanted us to sign. It had a material misrepresentation in it. And that material misrepresentation was that we transferred our property to Damron Construction Company. He was saying that Miss Canady made a mistake. We refused to sign that lie. He was trying to put words in our mouth. Remember, this is indispensable. This is the lie that he needs to perpetrate to be able to collect the blood money. Remember, I know I'm somewhat repetitive. I got 6 statements. I got 6 of his letters, all with the same major, serious misrepresentation in it. That we, Ron and Gloria, transferred our property to Damron Construction Company. I hope I made my point. That's a lie. It's a lie. It's a bald-faced lie. Excuse me. And he knows it's a lie. Let me prove it to you. We go to court. Judge Strickland enters judgment on our fraud, cancellation of the quiet title, ejectment, and breach of construction contract, claims and causes of action. That's what proves that he's lying. And that he lied is fraud. He needed that fraudulent misrepresentation to be able to protect Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, Canady, Rewis, Highsmith, and the Damron. But Judge Strickland ruled, and he was obligated to rule by the law. They committed fraud. Jerry Hill refused to accept it. He was covering up. He was covering up for the blood money. Okay, now he put Judge Strickland in this position. Judge Strickland got to come up with his own personal remedy, his own personal judgment outside the law. I got copy of Judge Strickland's final judgment on our counterclaim, signed, sealed, and delivered. We plugged in our specific amount of damage in the amended complaint. This is his official judgment. This is the amendment where we plugged in the specific amount of damages, attorney fees, and costs that we were entitled to. He refused to sign it. He refused to sign it. He came up with his own personal, unique remedy to extricate or to not to hold them liable for their torts, for those 5 torts that he had adjudicated based on the merits in our favor. He refused to sign his own final judgment on our claim. That's non-feasance. That's a crime. He was required as a matter of law. That was his lawful duty to sign. It was Judge Moore's lawful duty to sign it once he refused. Okay, so stay with me on that. But the main point is that Judge Strickland came up with this judgment outside the law because he's trying to extricate Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, Canady, Rewis, Highsmith, the Damron, and now Jerry Hill, Sheriff Crow / Sheriff Grady Judd, and the property appraiser, Marshall Falk, because they have relied on this fraudulent misrepresentation that these people had not committed fraud. This fraudulent misrepresentation that Jerry Hill is perpetrating, okay, that we transferred our property to Damron. Make no mistake about it, Judge Strickland found that we did not transfer our property to Damron. Damron and Stewart Title them conspired to fraudulently. So all of them is guilty of fraud. Now, you know he disqualifies himself to avoid giving us let me say it this way, our constitutional judgment. Now Judge Moore comes in, and now she's got to come up with a strategy or a trick to accomplish the same goal that Strickland failed. And this is nothing but retaliation. So this is why I got to break it down to you. This is why we got to get in to the details. All of her findings of facts, conclusions of law was in our favor, but she made this one material misrepresentation. This was the most, this is outrageous. I can never adequately describe how criminal this trick is. She said that the Mickens could have been much more clear as to what their desire and the attempt to rescind the contract. The Mickens are before the court, pro se. Okay, let's stop right at that. She's basically saying we're not smart enough or we're not intelligent enough to know what we want or to know what we desire or to know what we are attempting. Okay, That is a lie. We've already demonstrated what our desire was and what we attempted. Because remember, we just prevailed on fraud, cancellation of deed, quiet title, ejectment, and breach of construction contract. We got 2 more lawsuits that's telling what we desire and what we were seeking. The opposing party at this time agreed with us. They knew what we had played at this point. Later on, when we were defending against all of these fraudulent claims, we filed cross claims, counterclaims, and third-party claims, all showing what our desire and what we were seeking. Okay, let's get back to Judge Moore. She got to decide for us because we're before the court pro se. We ain't got a lawyer to tell us what we desire and what we were seeking. We've already prevailed, showing and demonstrating what our desire was and what we were seeking. All right, let's take this further misrepresentation a little bit further. She said, because we were before the court pro se, she found that our counterclaims and our arguments before the court was sufficient for stating a cause of action for rescission. Ladies and gentlemen, you gotta see this lie. State a cause of action, and we done been to trial and won causes of action for fraud, a cause of action for cancellation of the deed, a cause of action for quiet title, a cause of action for ejectment, a cause of action for breach of construction contract. What is she talking about? She finds that our counterclaim, we done already litigated and had these claims adjudicated. And talking about our arguments before the court. What are you talking about? We done already argued. We've already litigated. We've already proved what our prayers was, what our desire was, and what we were attempting. Can't you see the lie? I'm showing you and I'm demonstrating the details. It's all and egregious. Egregious. It's outrageous. And it is intentional. It's a trick. She's trying to extricate a not whole Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, Canady, Rewis, Harman-Highsmith, the Damrons, and Jerry Hill, sheriff, property appraiser. They're trying to extricate them from their fraud, not hold them alive. She's retaliating. Remember, I know you've heard me say this over and over again, but it helps explain what she's doing. She's replacing. This is a criminal act. She's replacing the Constitution. Judge Strickland's findings is Constitution. It's based on the law. It's based on the common law. It's based on the statutory law. She's replacing it with fraud. She's replacing it with this fraudulent misrepresentation, saying that we desire rescission. And she's saying that ordering us to pay the losing body for the cost of materials and labor, replacing all of our claims and additional claims that we have against the state attorney, sheriff, and prosecutor and property appraiser, because they are condoning the fraud. They are fraudulently misrepresenting. Judge Strickland and Judge Moore findings support what I'm saying. I'm giving you the proof. This is not coming from me. They concluded that they committed organized fraud, scheme to the fraud, fraudulent encumberment, fraudulent inducement, mortgage fraud, bank fraud. This is not me. This is what both judges concluded in their findings. Their findings of law and findings of fact. It's not coming from me. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I'm just giving to you when they rule by the Constitution. But here comes this fraudulent misrepresentation that's going to set aside the Constitution and replace it with fraud. You gotta see the fraud upon the court. They're reversing the law. They're making fraud the law. That's why it's necessary for you to understand why Judge Constein, oh, that was that man that created these fraudulent judgments on behalf to benefit the losers, the losing party. This turning the Constitution upside down. This is treason against the Constitution. This is warring against the Constitution. This is a violation of their oath of office. This is racketeering. This is interference with interstate commerce. And they're doing it for the blood money. Why else would they be doing this? Stay with me, because you got to be the judge. This is what I mean when they're turning the criminals into being considered as the victims, and the victims are being considered as the criminals. The losers are being considered as being the winners, and the winners are being considered as the losers. This is fraud. Fraud have became what? The law of the case. It's unbelievable. And everything is predicated on Judge Moore fraudulent misrepresentation. She can only put Judge Constein in this position to create and fabricate these fraudulent judgments by saying that we desire. It's unbelievable. They gotta get Jerry Hill out of being held liable and responsible for his fraud. So this is what it's all about. They got to turn the Constitution upside down. They got to set it aside. And they're going to have fraud become the law of the land. If you view those so-called judgments by Judge Constein, you absolutely know what I mean. They set aside, they vacated, they ignored, they aborted, they abandoned, they omitted, they annulled Judge Strickland's finding, slashed the Constitution. It's unbelievable. I'm trying to tell you, the truth is in the details. Okay, I hope you get it. I believe you have it. Okay, because remember what I said. It says in the words of Ida B. Wells, the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. I hope it all makes sense. They turn on the Constitution with this fraudulent misrepresentation that Judge Moore came up with. It was the trick. It's the trick of the century. It's institutionalized racism. They're still telling Ron and Gloria Mickens that you have to do what we say when we say it up, except whatever we say, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's the law or not. You better do it. Though we're going to destroy you mentally, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. They're going to have law enforcement or first responders to carry out these fraudulent, frivolous judgment against us, against the public. The truth is in the details. Okay, I need you to subscribe, share, pass the word. This is history. Okay? It's time for a change. Every once in a while, someone come along and decide to take a stand. And we were chosen. So, hang in there. Hang in there. I'll clarify anything that I've said. I got overwhelming evidence to support everything that I've said. Because we can dig into the details. Because that is where the truth lies. This is fraud upon the court. So, I'm going to see you the next time. But remember, it's all for the benefit of us all. So please, don't be offended because I use the term racism, institutionalized racism. Because it's reality. It's real. It's real. Trust me, I've went through it. It's real. Hey, listen up. I'm gonna take a break. But look here. You'll be hearing from me later. So stay with me. I'll talk to you later.